PCOS is one of the most common hormonal disorders in the developed world. In fact, it's thought to affect almost 7% of women in the US. But there is surprisingly limited information on how to treat it naturally. That's the topic of this video. PCOS, or polycystic ovary syndrome, is a condition characterized by hormonal imbalances in women, specifically an imbalance in male hormones or androgens produced by the ovaries. Unfortunately, there is no known cure yet, and the cause is unknown. However, genetic predisposition coupled with inadequate diet is thought to be a major driver. Research shows the most effective eating pattern for PCOS is one that promotes weight loss and reduces levels of the hormone insulin. This is because PCOS coupled with weight gain drives insulin resistance. That's why PCOS dramatically increases risk of type 2 diabetes and other metabolic health conditions. Additionally, studies show high insulin levels appear to upset regulation of the sex hormones. This worsens PCOS in a vicious cycle. Whichever diet or eating pattern helps you successfully lose weight and lower insulin levels will have the best possible outcomes. Now, assuming that you have been unsuccessful on a low-fat diet, which can work by the way, then a low-carb diet is a viable option. A low-carb diet is an eating pattern where carbs make up roughly 30% or less of your energy intake. Now, by comparison, the average American diet is around 60% carbs. Reducing carbs tends to equal a higher protein intake, shown to keep you feeling full for longer and reduce total calories consumed through the day. That's why low-carb diets can work well for weight loss when not counting calories. A ketogenic diet, which is an extremely low-carb diet, has also shown to be promising. However, it is extremely difficult to stick to, so much so that I don't typically recommend it. Aside from overall eating patterns, there are some common food concerns of PCOS patients that should be clarified. The first one is dairy. Some observational studies have linked low-fat dairy intake with increased risks of PCOS, while others suggest full-fat dairy has a protective effect. It's really unclear at this stage, but we cannot draw any firm conclusions from observational studies. If low-fat dairy is indeed bad for PCOS and full-fat dairy is not, it's likely because low-fat dairy and other diet products tend to have significantly more sugar. In any case, dairy-free is certainly worth a try if other changes haven't worked for you. With a wholesome diet, dairy is not essential. There have also been some concerns with soy, but again, the evidence is not that solid. It seems that moderate soy consumption is very likely safe. However, it seems an unnecessary risk to eat a lot of soy or to intentionally increase your intake of soy. Several studies indicate those with PCOS tend to have high levels of a compound in the blood called homocysteine. Now, high levels are thought to be an independent risk factor for heart disease and stroke. The most efficient way to reduce homocysteine is by increasing folate or folic acid intake, which are forms of vitamin B9. Now, folate comes from whole foods, while folic acid is a synthetic version in supplements. The top folate sources per 100 gram serve are beans and lentils, raw spinach, asparagus, and romaine or cos lettuce. Lastly, you must limit junk food and added sugars, which are a nightmare for treating PCOS. They're generally very high in calories and high in added sugar, which increases insulin levels and can disrupt other hormones. Know that successfully treating PCOS also involves some other factors such as managing chronic stress, increasing physical activity levels, and improving your sleep. All these things can greatly influence our hormones, and in the end, PCOS is a hormonal problem. Thanks for watching. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up, and you can even leave a comment and ask questions. If you haven't already, please click the red button below this video to subscribe to the Diet vs Disease YouTube channel so you don't miss out on other videos like this one.